and thank you for honoring our invitation for this interview, which is as part of the Africa Forum of the Lions Club. We are FAQ, making sense of African stories one question at a time. So, Dr. Shah, we hear a lot about the Lions Club. Can you tell us what is the Lions Club exactly?
Thank you very much for inviting me to share my experiences as a member of the Lions Club. And Lions Clubs International is an international organization. It's one of the biggest organizations that we have in the entire world. And the Lions International Organization actually is an organization that looks after the welfare of the less fortunate communities of the world. It's comprised of members around the world, and their common goal is we serve. And that's our motto. Wherever there is a need, there is a lion.
And what shape does that service take exactly?
So the service takes place in various manners. In fact, we are very active as whenever disasters strike. And we have seen that disasters have happened in the continent of Africa. We have had floods around many parts of Africa. We have had periods of droughts in many countries. In fact, we have also had tsunamis that have happened in the countries of Mozambique. And that's where lions work their best. So wherever there is a disaster, the lions are involved in that particular area. In terms of service, we are involved in many service activities on the continent of Africa, and our biggest service activity on the continent of Africa is giving vision to people who need our support and assistance. In fact, on the continent of Africa, the Lions have established more than 20 eye hospitals in very many countries on the continent of Africa. We have been in the forefront of eradicating the deadly disease of trachoma from the African continent. We have been fighting river blindness. So we have been there in the forefront of some of these very huge, large, impactful programs serving millions of people and restoring their eyesight. And our newest program is working to provide vision screening for kids, for children, because we know that Africa is a young population. There are many young people on the continent of Africa, and that's where the need is the most. Besides that, in many, many countries in Africa, there is a pertinent problem of hunger. And that's where the Lions are there to support many hunger initiatives, especially for children. Besides that, we have also been in the forefront of environment and making our continent a greener continent. We have a moral obligation to give back and do whatever we can do to make our continent green, and we have a re-greening program for the continent of Africa where we have participated in more than 28 countries on the continent of Africa with successful re-greening programs and projects. But besides that, we have also been actively involved in advocacy to ban plastics, and Rwanda is an exemplary example where you have managed to control plastic waste, and we are trying to be successful in many other African countries. And our newest program that we have for environment is e-waste. That's an area where the Lions are very actively working on. One of the other new areas where our Lions have been very, very successful, especially on the continent of Africa, and I believe in the lovely country of Rwanda, very soon we are also going to implement a project to support children who are suffering with cancer. Ours is a young, growing population, and with that there come many, many challenges. And we have lots of children who now are born with cancer or develop cancer during their early years, and we do not have the capability or the capacity to help many of these children deal with cancer. So that's a space that we are going to start working on in Rwanda, but in many other countries, especially from the country of Kenya that I come from, Uganda, Malawi, we have successfully implemented very many programs and projects that help children suffering from cancer. So these are some of the few programs that we, the Lions, are involved on the continent of Africa.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shah. It seems like the impact is quite large. And you yourself, you've been within the organization for 4 decades, 40 years. Can you tell us about that one story that really made you proud of being a Lion?
That's a very, very good and pertinent question. It was exactly 20 years ago where there was a big famine in my own country of Kenya, in the northern part of Kenya. And for more than 3 years, the rains had failed totally. And in the northern part of Kenya, the government declared an emergency. People were dying by the minute, by the hour, by the day, and there was a lot of suffering with children, men and women. And when we got the appeal, we decided that we as Lions must go out there and save lives of many of these people who are dying because of hunger and because of the drought and the rains that have failed. Through our Lions Clubs International Foundation, they gave us a grant to go and help many of these people in the villages in the northern part of Kenya. And we also mobilized our own local resources within the Lions network and brought in all the relief materials, packed all the goods, and we prepared ration packs to help those families sustain themselves for at least 1 month during the period of drought. We embarked on the journey, and I very vividly remember it was a Saturday morning, and we took 25 truckloads of famine relief to the northern part of Kenya, and our first stop was a village in Kajiado. And when we went into that village, as we stopped and they were offloading the first few trucks to help the villagers there, I decided that let me take a walk around and see for myself the reality on the ground. As I walked into that village, I saw there was nothing on the ground, not even a morsel of grass. I saw the faces of women, men, children. They were in desperation. There was no water, absolutely dry. And as I was walking through, I met this mother, and the mother was carrying a 4-month-old baby. And the baby was crying, crying and crying. So I went up to the mother and I asked the mother that why is your baby crying? And the mother told me that this 4-month-old baby has had no milk for the last 6 hours. I looked at the mother and I said, why haven't you given her your milk? She looked at me with tears in her eyes and she says that my baby has not had milk for almost more than 4 hours. I've had nothing to eat for 4 days. How do you expect me to give milk to my baby? I looked around and in the corner I saw about 14 cows that were sitting on the ground with their ribs sticking out and they could barely stand. I looked at the mother and I said that you have those cows there, why don't you get milk from the cows to give to your baby? She looked at me with tears running from her eyes and she said, my baby has had no milk for more than 4 hours. I haven't eaten for 4 days. The cows that are sitting there have had nothing to eat for the last 8 days. It struck me, the reality of the situation in that village. And I did not sleep for 3 nights. And I just wondered to myself, if we were not there, what would have happened to that baby? That baby would have died. What would have happened to that mother? And all the villagers who were in despair. And most importantly, what happened to the cows? Of course, we managed the situation. We got powder milk and for the babies. We brought in extra truckloads of food for the cattle and the cows, and we salvaged the situation. But that is the day I realized the value of being a Lion member, of helping people in desperation and need.
Thank you very much for sharing that story. So I hear service, I hear looking out for others. I'm not a lion myself. And if you had to convince me, if you had to tell me today to go for that higher cause, how would you go about it?
In fact, it's something that I do every day, and every opportunity that I get, I go out and I meet with people who know nothing about what we do as Lions clubs, and I talk to them. I share with them the stories of what we as Lions do. I share with them the impact that we are creating, and I entice them that if we can have more hands, we can help more people. And I request them that why don't you be a part of this beautiful organization, that so that we can join hands and together we can help those people who need our help. So that's the strategy that I use, and many of our Lion leaders also use the same strategy.
And today you are more than 100 million members.
We are more than 1.4 million members
1.4 million members.
all around the world, and we are located in more than 200 countries.
And all these people are about to have a new president.
That's right.
Who is that?
Well, apparently, this is the great opportunity for the continent of Africa, as in the last 110 years history of Lions International, there has never been an international president from the continent of Africa, and I will have the opportunity of being the international president in the year 2027, and the first one from the continent of Africa.
Wow, congratulations, congratulations. And you've been with them for 4 decades. You've seen the problems, the difficulties. You've seen the impact such an organization can have. So I'm wondering, what is the impact you intend to make as president?
Certainly. In fact, I've already started planning for my year as an international president, and my priority is going to be based on two very important pillars. One is growth and one is impact. And as I plan of growing our association and creating an impact all around the world, my focus, my priority is going to be how do I do more for the continent of Africa, for areas that really need our help, be an ambassador and an advocate to the Lions of the world, bring in partners, collaborate with others so we can carry out more impactful projects in many countries on the continent of Africa. So that is going to be my vision and my priority as I become an international president.
Any flagship program you're thinking about?
Yes. In fact, besides the many programs that we do, I know that Africa is a young country, and we do have a very young population, but at the same time, we should also be mindful that we also have an aged population that needs support and help. So one of the new programs that I am going to bring out, and specifically for the world, but most importantly for the continent of Africa, is that how do we help the elderly and the population that is of golden age, because they need support, they need help, and that is an area where we the Lions can do, even without much resources, even acts of kindness can help the golden age to live a better life. In addition to that, one of the other impactful programs that I feel we need on the continent of Africa, especially with our young population, is mental wellness and health, because this is becoming a global challenge, and in Africa it's pertinently becoming more and more because of the challenges, because of peer pressure, because of the various factors in many of the African countries, and we are seeing a lot of young people now suffering from mental wellness, and that is leading to a lot of health problems. In fact, one of the issues that I've been seeing in some of the countries, and I never realized that it was such a big issue, is something called burnt out. People get burnt out without realizing that they are burnt out. And that not only causes mental wellness, but that creates a lot of health issues. So that's something I feel that I really want to take as a priority as an international president, and see and come up with some programs of how to help many of these people.
Dr. Shah, I have no doubt that the impact of the Lions Club will continue on growing. As FAQ, we really wish you all the best
Thank you.
in this new journey, and we'll keep following the impact of the Lions Club, and of course sharing with our listeners
Thank you.
the good work you do. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.